What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode. My name's Will and I make an assortment of music under the moniker Hushchild. Now, recently I've been obsessed with this genre that I'm naming hyper emo or Midwest pop. It's like not quite Midwest emo if you're familiar with the genre, but it's not quite that glitchcore HyperPop sound. It falls somewhere in between. So if you're in the know, cool kids, let your boy know. Now, Scro, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, buddy. I've never said it out loud before. Actually brought this genre to my attention through his Instagram, but actually took inspiration for this track, which I built over on my Twitch from my boy RJ Payson on TikTok. I see you, buddy. I wanted to replicate some of the stuff that he was doing on guitar in the DAW when my music theory isn't great and I'm not a guitarist. I think we've spoken quite enough about what I did. Let's talk about what you can do. Let's dive into it. I don't have a lot of guitar knowledge. If you want to see me build this track, then head over to twitch.tv/The Will Hatton. Things didn't start off sounding like this. They actually started off in ample sound and they sounded more like this. Now you should note that the BPM is 175 and it is in 4/4, but I'm making the count to 4/4 a little bit peculiar. Let me show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I started things off with the scale of A minor. I just wanted to get down the bottom notes of the guitar first. From there, I went on to add a top line melody. If you want to see the whole process, it's over on Twitch. From there, I started to harmonize those layers. If I highlight all of the instruments, you can see kind of the guitar coming together. It's a lot of trial and error. Those little bends are, of course, coming from the envelope. You just come to MIDI control and then pitch bend, and I'm pitching the note up about halfway through just to give more of a realistic guitar bend. For all of these guitars, I'm using the Ample Sound semi-hollow guitar. I'm just using it on the double twang preset and occasionally turning on or off the amp, depending on if I want kind of a drier sound or something that's a little bit more sparkly and more present. The slide guitar actually has some instructions. So you can see at the bottom here, I'm either playing a D sharp or a C, and that's going to tell the guitar to either slide the note or just play it as a standard pluck. With my 3 notes, we have this. And then lastly, we have these pinch harmonics down at the bottom here. I've got one more instruction that says to the guitar to choose that kind of pinch harmonic sound. It's very simple. And then that just harmonizes nicely with this little section. Exactly the same notes, but just kind of different timbres of sound. And once I had these instruments in place, it was actually time to freeze and flatten these instruments. As you can see, Ample Sound is taking up a fair bit of my CPU and it adds a little bit of latency to those guitars. I also wanted to reverse a lot of these samples and add kind of different kinds of processing to it, as we'll see. So it was going to be easier when I got rid of those ample guitars. I started with the top line, just starting to reverse some of these notes. So chopping them up individually, hitting this reverse tool here and going through step by step by step. So you can hear there that there's a few more effects now as well. I'm adding OTT to this lead instrument. I'm actually processing all the guitars individually, reducing the mids a little bit and keeping the highs where they are, adding a little bit of EQ8. It's important when you add OTT to roll off those lows again, because OTT will add a little bit of a bass boost there. You'll see that on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm also adding a little bit of reverb on the reverb send and a little bit of delay to add a little bit of sparkle to that guitar as well. I then go through the sounds that you've already heard me create and just duplicate them, harmonize with them, add more reverses, or in the middle here, add stutter effects. So chopping up that same note time and time again to create this. Very quiet and just plays before the downbeat of the next note. I was also eliminating certain guitar parts that I'd recorded to add their kind of audio counterparts. I was either sampling guitars or adding new guitar parts. So you can see as we move down, I start to introduce new lines that I created in the Twitch stream. Finally add in this guitar that's sampled down the bottom. It's just the mono guitar. So finally, I've got the full audio. And if we look at the group, I'm using Lifeline Console just to add a little bit of that kind of lo-fi RC20 feel. I've got Studio Rack, which I introduced to you guys in last week's episode. It's lovely to put on a group of instruments because all we have to do is do search by audio and the AI algorithm understands what instrument you're using. It's very accurate, gives us some macros here so we can better treat our instrument to our taste. One for the tighter sound and one for the overall glue compression. And then just a little bit of EQA, as you can see here, a little bit of automation towards the end and the beginning, just to take out some of those sharper notes. Oh, that sound reminds me, DistroKid now have an app. They're making it easier than ever. If you're a DistroKid user, download their app and you can check your stats or even upload music on the go. If you're not a DistroKid user, then get releasing your music through them. You can use the link in my description below. You get 7% off your first year. Let's dive back into it. Now we get into filling up the track a little bit more. So I'm starting things off with a bass. And you'll notice that I've even included the stutters here. And then assuming that this is the chorus part of the song, I wanted to make it sound a little bit more full. So I'm just adding the respace here. The respace I've made in previous episodes. This is going to play with my 808. Now, because this video was mainly focused around the guitar, I didn't really need to make the drums as I do in most of my other videos. So I took this sample from Splice, which was a lot longer at first. And then as you can tell, I've added EQ8 limiter and that studio verse rack once again. And then I've chopped up the beat so it sits a little bit better with the groove that I chose. Basically, you just want to make sure that every kick drum lands on these downbeat markers. Finally, you just want to add some atmospheres and risers just so it kind of sparkles around the edges and brings everything together. So finally, you're left with this. You can mess around with this type of track for ages because I even added my lo-fi device, which you can find pinned at the Patreon, to just create new glitches and new grooves. So as that's playing, it's just super fun to get kind of lost in the source of that. Take the guitar away, just have the basses, the drums for the vocalist to sit in, slowly bring the guitar back half time, you know, kind of minimize the guitar because you've got so many stems to play with, so you can create a really minimal section and then bring it back with that respace and that 808 combo. It's a really fun genre to make, and I'm actually working on something super secret that you might have seen on my Twitch TV channel. So I guess not that secret, but a kind of Polyphia style track as well, also using ample sound and built-in Ableton sound. So if you want to see that sooner than later, let me know in the comments below. So there we have it, kind of a quick one today, but what's your thoughts? What do you want to see me make in future videos? I'm open to all the genres. You should know that by now. And if you don't, then make sure you hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for swinging by, and a special thank you to this user. If you saw my BandLab post, then you know I put the stems up of this track last week to see who could remix something for the outro. And this is what they did with it. I'll see you guys next week.